What's going on, everybody? Sean Pierce Johnson here, bringing you this week's edition of Stompbox Saturday, and on the stomping block today is the Abunai X from Tone Freak Effects, taking their flagship Abunai 2 into some more aggressive territory, and quite frankly, that's what I love about this one. Instead of the typical option of symmetrical and asymmetrical clipping and the diode lift of the Abunai 2, you get the option of having symmetrical clipping for some amp-like drive, or MOSFET clipping for a beefy kind of crunch, which I love. So let's take a look at how we control this thing. The same three knobs that govern a lot of overdrive pedals are here on the Abunai X: drive, tone, and level. Simple. Perfect. But then we have that three-way toggle, like all the other cool Tone Freak drives that we've taken a look at. On the left position, you get my favorite setting, the MOSFET clipping for some beefy crunch. Flipping it to the hard right setting, you get that symmetrical clipping, a little more open sounding, less compressed, but still very, very beautiful. And of course, like the others, center gets you that diode lift so that you don't get any clipping in the signal, but you get a nice hefty boost and a little bit of coloration from the pedal. Now, you've heard that sound in front of my orange rock reverb on a crunchy setting, so let's explore the other sounds we can get with the Abunai X. So let's check out exactly what those three positions on that three-way toggle sound like. We'll start at hard left. That's going to be our MOSFET clipping. It's going to be kind of beefy. I'm going to leave the level knob straight up at noon, turn the tone knob up to about 1 o'clock for a little added brightness, and we'll leave the drive at 9 o'clock. First, we'll check out the clean guitar sound. Now switching to hard right will give us the symmetrical clipping option. And now the middle gives us that diode lift, so we're more getting coloration from the drive and not so much gain. And all that gain you're hearing is that intense volume boost that comes from getting rid of the diodes in the clipping section to just pummel the front end of the amplifier. Really, really cool. So now that we've heard exactly what those three positions are going to sound like, let's find something that I would consider pleasing in front of a clean amp. For me, that's going to be with the MOSFET clipping. I just find that that aggressive sound is something I really love about this pedal. I'm going to jump up the drive to about 1 o'clock, dial back the level to about 11, and add a fair amount of brightness, just past 3 o'clock, and this is what we get. Let's say you play heavier, more aggressive styles of music, but your amp can only get you a good crunch tone. The Abunai X, this might be the overdrive pedal you need. Now typically my oranges can get me that heavier, more aggressive tone, but I've dialed it back for something that's just a little crunchier. So here's what that sounds like. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the Abunai X. We're going to leave the drive at noon, and the tone and level we've put up around 1 o'clock on the dial. And as I'm playing, I'm going to flick through all 3 settings, starting hard left, then hard right, and then the middle, so that we can get an idea of what those 3 clipping options are really doing for our tone. And then we'll find the one that works best for us. Wow, that is pretty hard to find the one that works for us. Maybe the diode clipping might be a little too much, the diode lift, that is. But for my money, the magic of this pedal comes from the MOSFET style clipping. So the way I like to run it is I like to go back on the drive knob about 10 o'clock, leave the level where it is, and then add a fair amount of brightness. The one cool thing about all of the Tone Freak overdrives that I've had the pleasure to try is that no matter if you need to crank the tone knob in order to get the sound that you want, the high end never really gets piercing. It's a very, very nice, slightly rolled off musical high end. So let's listen to this. Well, there you have it, everybody. There is your look at the Abunai X from Tone Freak Effects, a very aggressive and musical 3-knob overdrive, and a very welcome addition to the pedal world. You know, if you are looking for an aggressive overdrive pedal or overdrive sound, you typically have to find a distortion pedal. And distortion pedals don't often sound good in front of crunchy amplifiers. So the fact that the Abunai X exists is a very, very good thing. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Shoot me a comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for next week's episode of Stompbox Saturday. And until then, I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, and I wish you good tone and happy stomping. Cheers.